Welcome! It's time for some art fun. We're going to play a game today, so stick around. If you've watched my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm buddies with Sketches and Scrubs. I'm going to show you some of her pictures, just showing how wonderful she is at landscapes and florals and urban sketching, and that's what I know her for. But she also did a stint where she went through her gouache faces challenge, and she is not as comfortable with portrait work as she is with beautiful florals and beautiful landscapes and beautiful urban scenes. And even look at that cute little turtle that she did. I mean, she can do it all, but she's not as confident in her portrait work as she is with these other things. And so we wanted to do a challenge where I would pick one of her faces that she painted in her gouache faces challenge, and that piece of art from her Instagram would be my reference picture. And that would kick off a game of telephone, art telephone, just like when we were kids and we would sit in a little circle and one person would whisper into another person's ear and say a sentence like, "Your mom likes to plant trees." And by the time it comes all the way around the circle of children, it's something like, "Bees really like to bite knees," or something like that. And she and I were just talking about what would be fun. What can we do to involve our communities? Because we have a lot of overlap in our communities and we love to play with art. I mean, there's a reason I say it's time for some art fun. I like art to be fun. And so we talked a lot about it, like how would we pick a subject and what would happen and how would we kick this off? And she had the thought that we should do a portrait because neither of us are known for our portraits. We both do them, but we don't really show them on our channels that much. They're not what we're best at. They're not what's easiest for us. And we thought that might be a really cool way because a face is very identifiable. And by the time this face that originally was her gouache portrait that I'm going to put right here, by the time that face gets all the way around the circle of art YouTube, and even you watching at home, if you have an art Instagram or if you ever post your art on Instagram, you can absolutely tag us with our tag C&S calling. And that is our tag for this game of telephone. And we will see what you're doing. And by the time it comes all the way around, it should be really identifiable, just like with a sentence of words, it should be pretty identifiable how different the face is by the time it gets all the way around the circle. And you can probably already start to see right here how different it already became. So what I'm going to do is lay out the rules of the game for you while I show you the process of me painting this portrait based on her reference picture. And then at the end of this video, stick around because we recorded our Zoom call where I revealed what I had made and how far from her picture I ended up. And it was so much fun. We had so much fun. We talked for an hour, and that's very typical of us. When we have Zoom conversations, it's never less than an hour. And it is just so much fun. Guys, her soul she is the most beautiful soul. The sweetness of her soul shines through all of her videos, every conversation I've had with her. That's really who she is. There's like no veneer for YouTube. She's just a super sweet, wonderful, kind, amazing, brilliant doctor who also somehow makes time to do YouTube videos. And we just have a lot in common. And we get along super well. And I feel very similarly about Moni D Major. It's actually for the music, because she also does music, and so do I, and so does Sketches and Scrubs. And we're all very close, and we have these extensive direct message conversations on Instagram. And we just love each other's channels, we love each other's art, and we love each other as people. And so I want to play, and I definitely want to play a game with them. And so I started off the game of telephone just by taking the initial reference picture from Sketches and Scrubs and interpreting that. And that reference picture was all I had. I didn't look at any other reference. I just looked at what she had and riffed from there. And the next step will be, I'm going to link to her Instagram because that was the first picture in the chain. I'm going to link to her video once it's up, interpreting this picture in the next step of the game of telephone. And she will then post to the next person that she's going to tag, which I'm pretty sure will probably be Moni D Major, but we'll see if she's interested. And we might list a bunch of people and just tag as many people as we can think of who might want to play and just get it going, because there's no reason it has to be totally linear. A lot of people might look at this picture and do the same thing that Sketches is going to do and just riff off of this picture. So we could have like infinite games of telephone started just with this video, but I think it will be really cool to see if anyone just picks up the thread of I looked at Sketch's picture and did this, and then Sketches is going to look at this picture and paint her own version of this picture without looking at her original picture, which is honestly going to be the hardest thing. She has the hardest job here. But when we were doing our planning call, I'm so excited about this, by the way. I think it came out so cool. And this is the moment where I was like really excited because the hair is what drew me in first to this picture. I was like, I must do this hair with super granulating watercolors. It was what I could not wait to do. So I was really excited when the hair came out kind of how I envisioned, and I had to have a little celebratory moment. So when we were doing our initial planning call for this game of art telephone, we were trying to figure out who would go first, who would go second, what would we do? Would we pick a new picture, like a reference picture, and one of us would paint it, and then the other person would paint that as their reference? And her response to that was, but I want to play. She said, I want to play too. And if I just paint from a regular photo and send it to you, you're the first person to really play the game. And that's why we picked what we picked, where we both get to play. And I'm so excited. This was so intimidating, but it ended up being so much fun. I'm just not great at doing portraits. So I was really nervous about this. Like, would I not do a good job of making the skin really pretty and luminous? And it was so good to have that challenge and really push myself to make this a beautiful portrait. And I'm so happy with it, you guys. I could not believe that it came out the way it came out. I am so happy with it. I was so inspired by her picture. And I was so inspired by the super granulating watercolors. You know I love my super granulating watercolors. I really wanted to use that violet, the deep sea violet for the hair, because I know it granulates so beautifully and it can read darker. And I wanted a darker color, but I also wanted it to have a lot of luminosity and movement, and it totally worked. I was so excited that it worked. And then I really wanted to use my cobalt blue violet for the top. I thought that an off the shoulder number would be really fun to paint. I love doing collarbones and necks and shadows like that. And I really had a lot of fun doing that on this painting. So I will often use my own paintings as a reference for a new painting, and I riff off of it. I don't feel tied down to the exact thing that I'm looking at. And so when I do that with my own stuff, I have that experience. So I knew when I looked at this kind of how I wanted to approach it. So that's how I approached this. I knew I wanted to change a couple of things, make it more my style, but maintain the body position, the basic look of the face, and the glasses, and those awesome nails, and the really cool hairstyle. So knowing all of that, using my materials, I followed the materials kind of where they wanted to take me. I was super terrified to add a really thick red rim to the glasses the way that she had in her painting, even though that was one of my favorite things about that painting and one of the things that made it so striking to me, because I just loved her face at this point. I loved the way the face was coming together, and I was terrified if I did a hard outline on those glasses instead of making them look a little bit more like almost rimless glasses, that I would mess it up, because I had deviated from her painting so much at this point that I didn't have a really clear reference on those lines, and I was really afraid to mess up those lines. So I kind of chickened out and just left them like almost the way they are here. I just added across the bridge of her nose, the red rim of the glass is like the connector over the bridge of the nose. So just note that there are moments here where I chicken out and could have taken things further. Like I could have added 2 or even 3 more glazes to her skin to deepen up the color, but I was so terrified I would mess it up, and I loved her face so much by the end that I was like, I'm just gonna call it good. I don't want to mess this up. So for this challenge, now that you understand sort of how I thought about this, I selected an art material I'm comfortable with, and I followed that art material and the approach I usually use for portraits and just used Sketch's painting as a reference. I think it's really cool to explain to you how I would expect you to join in on this game, because that's what we want. Sketches and I are very clear. We want to play, and we want to play with you. We want to play with our little family here. It's one of the best things about having a YouTube channel for both of us is the relationships, or are the relationships that we've been able to build up with our team. You know, she calls you guys her MVPs. You know, if you watch to the end of one of her videos, she says, if you're still here, you are a true MVP. And if you are, then, you know, answer this question or leave this comment. And I love doing that. I love making sure she knows I always watch to the end of her videos. And for you guys, you know, I have my little catchphrase at the end of my videos, and I usually show a little picture, maybe of my dog, or maybe a recap of a picture from the video. And That's really part of having a community and knowing that you're part of a team and that you're part of this group, this really friendly and supportive art group here, this art community here on YouTube. And so we love interacting with you guys, and we love interacting with each other, and we love to play with our art materials. So to join this challenge, go ahead and either make a video using either my painting or, preferably Sketch's painting, or even if it's still going, whoever the next person's painting is, use the last painting you can find as your reference. And make sure to @ me and Sketches, because the hashtag is CNS calling for creating cute art and Sketches and Scrubs calling. That's the hashtag. And make sure that you reference back to us so people can see how this is progressing and like the difference between the photo I used as a reference, the photo Sketches is going to use as a reference, which is going to be this painting, and wherever it's going from there. It's going to be so much fun to follow the videos. And if you're playing along at home and you don't have a YouTube channel, you're like I was up until last year where I did not have a channel. I was just an art YouTube fan. Then go ahead and do it in your sketchbook at home and take a picture and post it on Instagram and use the hashtag there as well, because we will be posting the pictures there. And it'll be even easier there to follow if you just want to look at the images of how it's flowing, because we're going to have these pictures up tagged with that tag, and it will be very easy to follow. We are all grown-ups in a way. I mean, I'm sure I have some children who watch, and I'm sure I have some, young adults who watch, and I'm sure I have some college-age people who watch. But most of this channel, I can see the demographics, and we're almost all in a certain age range of adults, and yet we never really feel grown-up. We never feel like we're over the idea of playing. I love hysterically laughing with my friends and my husband, and I was hysterically laughing with Sketches on both of our Zoom calls about this challenge so far. And we want you to share in that joy and that excitement and that fun of playing with your friends. And the thing is, a lot of our real life in-person friends aren't into art the way we are. And yet this community here, we all are into art in the same or a similar way. And we also love to play, and we love to have fun. And this is a way you can get involved with the art community, and you can get involved with your favorite YouTubers and spread this fun game around. How cool is it that it's already from Colorado to London? Like, it's already from Colorado to the UK with just me and Sketches being involved. But I think it would be so much fun to see this trend go all across the globe, like with Made by Dawn in Belize, and with Sarah Byrne Studios in Scotland, and Moni D. Major in Germany, by way of Poland. And just there's people all over the place. And I would love to see this challenge spread all over the place and see what it becomes across cultures, across nations. And just, can you imagine? I mean, when I was in college, I used to daydream about having a game of tag that would just go across the whole campus with strangers just "you're it" and running away. I just thought it would be so much fun. I don't know if I'm the only weirdo. I would sit on the bench on the common area imagining doing that. Like, what if I just jumped up and tagged someone, and then I would start hysterically laughing by myself on a bench? I'm sure I looked totally insane. But I haven't changed. Like, it's been 20 years pretty much, but I haven't changed. I still want to play with my friends. And you guys are my friends. You're my people. You know this. And I want to play. So, give it a shot. Make sure to accept the challenge. Play the game of telephone with Sketches and creating cute art. I'm Maggie, and we would love to play with you. So definitely check out her video. She's going to be posting her video sometime in the next few weeks. I'll definitely post it on my community tab so you know when her video is up. Please go over and watch it. I will definitely be over there watching the comments like a hawk to play and just continue the fun and see what people think. Don't be intimidated. No one is judging you. No one is taking offense. If you take this reference photo and just completely change it, I'm not going to be offended at all. That's the idea. I love how this came out. I'm so excited about it. Stick around and hear how Sketches enjoyed it. And until next time, remember, create something cute. But also, please do subscribe to the channel if you're watching and you're enjoying it. It helps so much. Unfortunately, this part of the recording just would not merge with the main video, so I'm posting it as a separate video right after this, and I'll link to it both in the description and in the top pinned comment. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it one video. My recording device would not work with me. So go watch that video, and it will have sound and it will be synced. Thank you.